we'll call it breaking news, just revealed to the media just literal moments ago.
Yep.
By Dave Canales. Versus New Orleans, Bryce Young will be getting the start. Now, in case you're wondering, this still isn't being spun as a choice. It's being spun as Andy Dalton is still progressing back from the thumb injury he suffered last week in the car accident. So this is not a Bryce Young is the starter. It to my knowledge, is being spun as Bryce Young is the backup being pressed into starting due to the starter being less than 100%. Although the plan is for Dalton to be available as a backup, so the more you think about it, the more your head hurts, because the way it's being spun doesn't make a ton of sense, right? If your thumb isn't good enough to throw with the ones, why would it be good enough to throw with the twos? Here's the second straight week I get to say this. The Ravens are being – the Ravens.
What's on your mind?
Well, I did literally just before we got on air. Lamar Jackson wasn't at practice today.
Oh, no.
And he's on my fantasy team, so it's rattling around. The Panthers, for the second straight week, the Panthers are being forced into making the right decision. They're by default making the right decision. I said it earlier this week. There's no more debate for me. It's no longer a matter of opinion. You start Bryce Young even when Andy Dalton is healthy. But I'm not, beggars can't be choosers. The Panthers are making a good decision here. I don't care about the reasoning. We give credit where it's due. Way to go. Bryce Young's going to be the starter. And the reason why it's the right answer is because of the way the season has gone. The reason why it's the right answer is because Andy Dalton, has he turned 37 yet? I know
I think his birthday was literally like yesterday.
I was going to say, when he took over, he was a month away from 37, and it's been, I think, more than a month.
Yeah, look at him. Happy birthday, Andy.
Happy birthday, Andy Dalton. Unfortunately, in sports, especially once you hit those late 30s, you're not celebrating birthdays as much as hoping no one notices. Mm-hmm. You're going around going, I'm mid-30s, like 39. I'm mid-30s because it's just... You start to lose your place in future plans. And look at this. We already have the audio. This was just moments ago, and Dennis already pulled it up. We have Dave Canales explaining why and how and who will be starting at quarterback for the second straight week for the Panthers.
First of all, let me just say that Bryce will be starting this week. So he took the reps with the ones today, and Andy is progressing. He was out there throwing, and I just really looked at all of the things, and for me, I just erred on the side of caution, and wanted to get Andy in the best possible situation to be able to make a decision going forward. And also, I'm excited for Bryce to have an opportunity to build off some of the things that he did last week. Certainly things to work on, but a lot of good stuff that he did too. So, and then again, I know we'll have questions about it, but we'll take all the information in from this week and then go forward and make the next best decision for the team.
I love that. I know we'll have questions about it. A lot of questions, Coach. Your prediction is correct. A lot of questions. What does he need to do to keep the job? How about that? Right? Because if you're gathering information this week and next week you're going to be making the decision what's best for the team again, give us some parameters, man. What are you looking for? Because I actually don't think it's like a what are you looking for thing. I think it's his job. I think you need to give him a little leash, give him a little leeway, give him a little slack, let him play, give him some confidence. How about that one? I said this before. I'm going to say this as long as I'm in this business. I've never met a quarterback that plays better when you start threatening them with taking their job away. It's just a really tough position to play with that over your shoulder. So this game of, hey, we'll see him play, and then next week we'll decide if he keeps the job, hanging the guillotine above his career, I don't think that's the best way to handle it. It's the problem I had with the way UNC handled their quarterbacks earlier this year, where they didn't name the starter, until the very first day or very first game, and then at halftime, everyone was going, I don't know, Max Johnson didn't look great in the first half. Will we see Connor Harrell in the second half? It's not good for a quarterback's mentality. I have seen a ton of running backs that play better that way. I've seen a ton of linebackers, offense and defensive line. Other positions have different mentalities. Right? You tell a running back, hey, we're going to start giving your carries to the backup. Suddenly, they're averaging like 8 yards a carry. That happens. Don't see it happen that often for quarterbacks. Don't love the way they're handling it, but again, beggars can't be choosers. The right decision is to start Bryce Young. So whether it's because Andy Dalton has a sore thumb, whether it's because they're hiding behind that, if you remember the conspiracy theory of last week, Andy Dalton's thumb is sore. What does that mean? That means they get to test drive Bryce Young and not really have to choose to make the switch. You know, I've wondered. This happened. What was it, like 3, 4, 5 years ago? Where that's how accurate I am. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sometime in the last 35 years. Dak Prescott was hurt for like 4 or 5 games. I forget what it was. Not the big injury, not the ankle. Cooper Rush came in and went 5-0. Remember that? And there was legitimate conversation about, does Cooper Rush give the job back? I was like, the only thing that might happen is they just look at Dak and say, you're still recovering. You're still recovering until Cooper Rush loses one. Then you run Dak Prescott out there. So maybe there's a situation where they're like, we need more time to evaluate Bryce. So Andy Dalton, you're still recovering.
Yeah, how's that thumb? It still hurts a little bit? Yeah, it's a little sore. That's fine.
Does
That's
it hurt?
fine.
No, it feels good. They smack his hand. How about now? Oh, it's swelling up again, huh? All right, yeah, go see the trainer. Bryce will start this week. Which I wouldn't even like that, because that means you watched Bryce play for a week. You knew the game plan. You know how he executed. You knew what difficult situations he was put into, being on the road at elevation against a very good defense. You saw all that and then went, I still don't know. Let's make Andy hurt again. I don't like that. I don't like it at all. We do know that Bryce, for the second straight week, will not have Deontay Johnson. Last week, because Deontay Johnson apparently had a rib injury. This week, because Deontay Johnson is a Raven, which does call into question a little bit about the rib injury last week. Might be, you're not hurt, and we want to keep it that way for the trade market.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of that.
Christian Kirk was also on the trade market, and he broke his collarbone, so now the Jags just have an injured receiver on their books this year.
Whoops.
So there's a little bit of that, perhaps. We're going to have to talk about it throughout the show, but I do want to – I'll put my hand up. Apology, right? I'm big on accountability around here. Yesterday, I was a big problems guy.
Okay.
Right? I did a lot of ranting and raving about how big of a problem the Deontay Johnson trade was, how bad the Deontay Johnson trade was. But one thing I try to make a point, and this is like you go back, you watch the film, and you realize, didn't protect the football as well as I thought. I like being not just a problems guy, but a solutions guy. I do think there were ways that the Panthers could have held or could have handled the Deontay Johnson trade differently that would have set them back up better for the future. I have a handful of those ways. I have 4 or 5 of them. I'm going to tell you throughout the show what they are. But it's not just, oh my gosh, you did that terribly. It's, oh my gosh, you did that terribly. Here's other ways it could have been done better. Because I get very mad when people are like, oh my gosh, you never should have drafted that guy. And I'm going like, all right, who would you have drafted? And have some proof that you were saying it beforehand, right? It's not just what you did was wrong. There has to be a better way to do it. Because we've all been backed into bad situations, right? We've all been backed into, I have no choice. I got to take my medicine. I got to bite the bullet on this one. I'm going to make this is my decision. We've all been there. That's the defense of the Deontay Johnson trade. They had no choice. I don't think that was the case. I don't. So throughout the show, we'll mix in some things they could have done. But the breaking news from just moments ago, Dave Canales telling the media Bryce Young will be quarterback 1. He'll be the starter for the next however many days that it takes. At least through Sunday when they go ahead and play the Saints, which, by the way, could be a little bit of a redemption game for old Bryce. A redemption game.
Actually going to be there on Sunday. I'm like, okay, got a little something going on here.
47-10. Yeah. If you were at the first game of the season when they played the Saints, like you'll be at the game this weekend, could have left about 4.5 minutes in and said, you know what, game's over. Appreciate it. It's good to see you all. Warm-ups were fun. I'm going to beat the traffic.
Yep.
It's a home game, though, which is a little bit different. It'll be in Charlotte.